There's been two big puzzles, and they speak to how unsettling the volatility in the US Treasury has been. One is you haven't had it been the safe haven. We haven't seen the flight to quality and the flight to safety that you would expect given what's happening in the world. The second thing that's equally counterintuitive is you have people talking about Bitcoins, about equity being the safe asset because they've lost confidence in government bonds being the safe assets because of the nature of this interest rate risk.
Talk about big news. Bonds and treasuries are no longer safe. There is trouble on the horizon, it appears, in clown world, in fiat world. Inflation won't go away. Politicians are more incapable by the day. Heck, some people are saying the Fed's bankrupt. The world needs a hero, and it looks like they're waking up to the solution that has been right there the whole time. The world needs a safe haven, and we're here to bring it to them, baby. We got a lot to cover. Let's get it. All right, so let's start over here. So who was that guy, Mohamed El-Erian? Well, one thing worth noticing when I first went to search for the guy is pictures at the World Economic Forum, so make sure we take that into consideration. But El-Erian is a pretty big deal, and this kind of follows the trend that we've seen from Michael Saylor to Larry Fink, Stanley Druckenmiller, all of these people coming around, starting to see, based on the environment, right? Everyone wants to self-preserve. Everyone wants to benefit themselves. That's what Bitcoin acts on. Your own desire, your own greed for self-preservation. And anytime you attack it, well, you're hurting your long-term self-preservation because you're not going to stop Bitcoin anyway. But this is who El-Erian is. President of Queen's College at Cambridge, chief economic advisor at Alliance, the corporate parent of PIMCO. He was the CEO and co-chief investment officer there for about 8 years. And he was also chair of President Obama's Global Development Council. He's a columnist at Bloomberg, contributing editor to the Financial Times. So very prolific individual, highly intelligent. He's been in economics for a long time, and he's kind of waking up to the fact that Bitcoin is the safe haven that the world has been searching for, and that Michael Saylor has been trying to tell everyone about for a few years now. And again, guys, we've been planting those seeds. Everyone has. Everyone in this community, from the memes and the posts to the articles and the charts and the graphics and the illustrations and everything that everyone does, going total savage on shitcoiners and fiat maxis when they lie about Bitcoin. All of these things has led us to where we are today. And let's have Michael Saylor break that down.
Mainstream awareness seems to be reaching new heights for Bitcoin. We have the likes of Larry Fink referring to it as a flight to quality. We have Druckenmiller noting that it's a legitimate asset embraced by an entire generation and lamenting that he doesn't own more of it or own it. We have Mohamed El-Erian on television noting that Bitcoin is being viewed now as a safe haven asset. We have a lot of coverage of Bitcoin in television, on television networks, news networks, and also through mainstream media. That should continue to grow as that coverage increases. That combined with increasing availability of Wall Street analyst coverage and new voices emerging in the community, like Fidelity with their analysis of Bitcoin. All of those new voices and new interest is driving education of a new generation of investors. I think we can expect more of that during the coming 12 months. And all of these things together just create a virtual cycle. And as they drive Bitcoin awareness, they should drive Bitcoin investment, and that should drive more news, and that should drive more awareness, and that should catalyze more and more firms to take an interest in supporting Bitcoin or investing in Bitcoin.
Shout outs to Stephen Lepka on this one, but guys, if you're new, when are you going to join the flight to quality? Looks like Larry Fink and everyone else is hopping on board. I think Satoshi said he might want to get some in case it catches on or something. Okay guys, I know this is pop, but decent post here. And getting into, I think when we go back to Larry Fink, we talk about what he said about a flight to quality. But what he didn't say that kind of may be a bigger deal is, okay, so what is not quality? Well, we've got examples here, and it's basically everything else. If we're going into what's going to be the fastest horse in the race throughout the next few decades, just as it was the best performing asset of the past decade, and that was without an ETF approval or anything like that, and everyone was shitting on it and trying to make it illegal or whatnot, best performing asset of the decade. So you see what happens when you fight Bitcoin? Those of you detractors, doubters, go fuck yourself. Bitcoin is the safe haven. Why is Bitcoin outperforming bonds? Historically, they've been considered a safe haven, but it appears Bitcoin is starting to steal that light, and just days after Larry Fink said allocating to Bitcoin was a flight to quality, capital flows drive the market, and the market doesn't lie. Investors appear to be much more interested in Bitcoin than bonds. Wow, I wonder why. Maybe because they can actually benefit from them. You can see that the TLT has been in steady decline since 2020, while Bitcoin has been much more volatile during the same time period. The story in 2023 has been very clear. Bitcoin is up more than 100% year to date, while TLT is down 17% during the same time frame. Is Bitcoin replacing bonds as the safe haven? Very intelligent individuals seem to think so. Pomp says he wouldn't go that far, but if the trend continues, this will become an even bigger story. Of course, the legend Dylan LeClaire has been all over it. Let's go check out this, because again, they're fleeing to quality from something. What are they running from? Guys, it is the debt spiral that they're running from. Everybody, Larry Fink, nation states, major corporations, they've just been waiting for it to be big enough to get in. And that's why some people say diminishing returns, but I think with Bitcoin, you have a finite fixed supply asset. So with it, bigger numbers will bring bigger numbers. So for example, Bitcoin wasn't big enough. Now Bitcoin's big enough, and BlackRock's coming in, which they said themselves could bring an influx of 200 to 300 billion, which is like half of Bitcoin's market cap at the moment. So that's going to be a big benefit, and that's just them. There's a lot more ETFs that are probably going to get approved, likely soon. There may be a closed door meeting going on today, so make sure you're following us on Twitter, where we're getting all the breaking news, and we've got our heads on a swivel on that one. But like I said, bigger numbers bring bigger numbers. Now BlackRock gets in, right? This is the largest institution arguably on the planet, arguably the most powerful institution on the planet. Eventually, Bitcoin is going to rise in price, right? So those who are not taking part, not utilizing Bitcoin, not saving in Bitcoin, well, they're going to lose while other people are winning. Self-preservation kicks in, game theory. Even though Bitcoin will be at higher prices, well, bigger numbers bring bigger numbers. Eventually, states, due to game theory, will have to FOMO into Bitcoin because others are. And if they don't, they're going to lose. They're going to lose because of this situation that CJ is talking about right here. That's because higher interest rates go, the larger the deficit, the faster the currency printer has to go. This is the why more cycle. Every time they inject money too, it's going to be less effective, and they're going to have to inject X more each time. So the higher interest rates go, the higher costs go for businesses. The higher interest rates go, the more people can spend yield based on the exponentially rising cost to finance government's massive budget deficit, the increasing cost structure for businesses, the increased amount of yield that can be spent into the economy. It's pretty obvious that we're not correctly fighting inflation, and the results will be devastating. The Fed is completely clueless. They don't know what they're doing. There is one solution out there, and everyone is waking up to it. You can opt out of clown world with Bitcoin. And I think, we've heard this. Finance Lancelot the other day said that we are in the end game. Let's take a look at this. The pace at which interest payments hit 4.5% of GDP has accelerated. But guys, it took 20 years to hit that mark through the 70s and 80s, and that was with Volcker and all these things dating back, history rhyming. What's the big point here, though? This only took 3 years to hit that same ratio. Totally sustainable, ladies and gentlemen. I'd probably book my tickets on the flight to quality today. I mean, pretty big news here. We got Bloomberg talking about Bitcoin's halving, the connection with the bull run. You love to see it, guys. This is Bitcoin coming into the mainstream. People are going to have to learn what the difference is between actual Bitcoin and BlackRock's Bitcoin, and that may be painful in the future. Again, maybe Bitcoin will be the one to bring down BlackRock, because if they are issuing paper Bitcoin and things of that nature, they will likely get exposed as FTX and those jackasses did as well. The world is fleeing to safety and getting away from these central banks and government institutions and failing leaders that have spent like drunken sailors, that have spent the future generations' wealth, that have basically assuredly defaulted the nation. While everything else is deteriorating, as Michael Saylor and Larry Fink said, Bitcoin is hope. And quietly, Bitcoin is halfway to its all-time high without like any mainstream attention and without the spot ETF approval. Shout out to Jax, one of our dudes on Twitter on this one. But imagine what happens when normies start talking about it and we have 10 to 12 spot ETFs approved, at the same time. I want to get some sats, put them in cold storage in case it catches on or something. As your dedicated Bitcoin IT team, the Bitcoin Way is here to guide you from start to finish on your journey to properly self-custody your Bitcoin. What's more, they've recently introduced 100% privacy-focused collaborative custody services where you benefit from advanced multi-sig security, inheritance planning, and much more while remaining 100% in control. Book a free 30-minute call to get started using that link below. This is why everyone is coming around. The numbers, you can't deny it. This is MicroStrategy's outperformance since they adopted the Bitcoin strategy. Looking pretty good out there, Saylor. I think he's onto something as well. This is going to become the new normal, except they're going to end up getting Bitcoin at the price they deserve, unfortunately. Man, guys, major news. Bitcoin is going mainstream. It is the flight to safety. Bitcoin is hope. Bitcoin is the ultimate hedge against clown world. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, share that Sound Money Gospel, and make sure you get those notifications set on Twitter where we are getting all the breaking news out. Could be some big ETF news coming tonight, so we'll be on that. Meet after. You're going to hold down Simply Bitcoin Live tomorrow. We got another clip coming tomorrow. Some fun things over the weekend, so stay tuned, set those notifications. And hey, this isn't the only bullish development. I mean, if you haven't heard about Larry Fink yet or dove into, how bullish Michael Saylor really thinks things might get, you might want to check those out. But hey, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Peace.